Alright, hey guys, and welcome to my review of The Outfit. I believe this is by far the best film that has come out, this year. Is that really true? I think I dare say that. I think this is the best film that has come out. Look at this, all these films that I've recently reviewed and watched. And yeah, I think The Outfit is hands down the best film that has come out so far. So this film is basically a masterclass by Mark Rylance on what real acting is like. And it's actually more so of the delivery of certain dialogue, certain lines, the screenplay, and also these very warm and close-up moments that we have with these characters, because this entire film takes place in a single tailor shop. The entire film takes place in a tailor shop, and it is the most interesting tailor shop in the world, just because of how things play out. So this story is basically about this mafia that is ruling the city, and this tailor, who's played by Mark Rylance, Leonard, and his assistant Mabel, who are just living as a bunch of tailors in the city. So Richie, Francis, these guys are all part of the same gang, and then you have Mr. Roy, who is the mafia head. So Richie is his son, and Francis is sort of his right hand. And what happens is Leonard and Mabel are sort of just going about their days until one night, the mafia, Richie and Francis, show up at Leonard's tailor shop to tell him that they need to hide something because the Bobbies are after them. Bobbies mean police, for those who don't know. So yeah, with the police after them, they come to Leonard's shop and they tell him they need to hide something urgently. And so Leonard actually plays out as this very what do you call this, naive and very sort of subtle and very sort of deranged almost type of Taylor character, where he just seems like a really old and helpless dude who's just trying to survive his day and wants the mafia gone from his shop, but understands the fact that the mafia also needs a place to bunk in. So he tries to be polite and as kind as possible as he can in the most British way possible. So he's the only real British guy in this story, who's basically a tailor who came from Britain because of some past that he can't quite talk about. And I really like the mystery that they have when they depict his past, because they do give clues about it as we go through the story. And from one moment you think it's going to be just a very straightforward story about this helpless tailor, but as you watch it, I think about 30 minutes to 40 minutes in this film, you realize that this is not the film that you thought it was going to be. And there's a whole other turn of events that's coming, and you know it's coming, and it's set up so well. And when it does arrive, man, that's the chef's kiss right there. So basically, Richie gets killed by Francis. And the reason for that is they just end up in an argument. Leonard takes the advantage that they're both arguing, realizes they both have guns loaded in their hands, and he sort of knocks back into a chair, pretending like he is off balance, and that panics Francis into shooting Richie. And Francis decides, well, since I've already shot the boss's son, I might as well finish him off and cover it up. So he does that, and he asks Leonard to help him cover it up, and Leonard does so because Leonard's afraid for his own life, or at least he pretends to be. But I would like to think that he was afraid. But nonetheless, I believe he could have got out of the situation at any time, but he had a bigger plan. And so Roy shows up with one of his assistants. The mafia boss shows up with one of his assistants, and they try to investigate the missing, like Richie missing, and doesn't seem to buy what Francis is telling, that Richie had left to go and take on the opposing mafia, the enemy mafia, which is La Fontaine. So the reason La Fontaine is after this particular tape is apparently because the tape has a recording of the mafia's discussion on their plans. And if La Fontaine or the FBI were to get their hands on it, it would mean ruin. It would spell ruin for this particular mafia group that's Roy is in charge of. Later on, they bring Mabel into the scene and incite the fact that she is possibly the spy who has created this recording or managed to get a copy of this recording. And the tape that is finally now in the mafia's hands was all Mabel's doing, but they can't seem to find the tape all of a sudden. So this builds on, and it's so well done that the turn of events keep you guessing on what's going to happen next. You don't really know, you can't really predict it, and I really, really love that. At some points, you kind of, sort of, can figure out that there's more to the story, and you kind of know that, oh, it's going to go to that guy who is not really what he seems to be. Don't judge a book by its cover, kind of thing. And it does turn out to be that, but it also turns out to be a bit more than that. And that's what I really, really like about this film. So towards the end, it turns out that it was Leonard's plan all along to fool the mafia into having this little sort of facade in his shop, and he just planned on some way to get rid of all of them together. And he is the one who actually planted the bug that did the recording and tried to confuse the mafia to come together in order to kill each other off and finally set them up to go against La Fontaine, who is their opposing mafia team. And he also set it up in such a way that he told Roy that it's actually a place where Richie, his already dead son, was hiding. And so Roy went there thinking he could save Richie, but he also told Mabel to pretend to be the actual spy and inform La Fontaine that Roy is coming. So La Fontaine was ready, gets a chance, kills Roy, becomes the only mafia lord remaining. And so she decides to spare Leonard because she realizes that Leonard has actually saved her the trouble of trying to kill Roy or whatever, because he basically set Roy up for death to La Fontaine. Towards the end of the scene, it turns out that Francis was not really dead even after being shot by La Fontaine's men, and he gets up to take on Leonard. At which point, Leonard finally reveals that he is actually ex-mafia and he has done some pretty terrifying stuff in his younger days, and he's really not the book that can be judged by its cover. And I hope I said that right. And Leonard beats the crap out of Francis and puts on a pretty nice suit as he leaves his burning tailor shop off to start his next one and perhaps take on another mafia clan. So I would have to say the outfit is a really, really good spy and mystery movie. Yes, what it is. Yes, I think the mystery term is really well done here. It is a spy movie. It is a movie of deception, and a really well done movie. And unfortunate for those of you who did not watch it before listening to this review, because unfortunately this is a spoiler review. But if you still plan to watch it, I highly recommend you do, because I try to keep my spoiler review only to the key points. There's still so much more to the film that you may think like, really, is there that much more? And yes, there is. And I really love films like these that are so well detailed. But I have to say the screenplay is really well done. Every shot in this film really looks like just a beautiful glimpse of, this warm feeling tailor shop, and everyone is dressed so prim and proper. It's just really classic, really well done. Even the colors are chosen such that there's a bit of warmth to everything that is around there, but you also get this very eerie feeling that things could go south at any time because of the intensity, and the music is really well done. The even the subtle moments have some very faint sort of white noise to keep the tension going, and I really like that. And this is what I talk about when I say good music in a film. This is what it needed to be, and it had it. It doesn't have some amazing soundtrack that you're going to remember for the rest of your life, but it really fits really well into these scenes, and I think it was meant to be subtle, and it's put really, really well, and it achieved what it tried to achieve. So Mark Rylance is simply amazing. I think this guy, he reminded me why he's such a great actor, from just his history of films, but also who he is as a person. Because yeah, this is a masterclass performance from Mark Rylance. And if you guys haven't checked it out, this guy has like a 30-year, maybe 40-year history in films. Yeah, and he's pretty awesome. So yeah, anyway, that's it for me. That's my review of the outfit. Let me give you guys my points for this film. There we go. Let me pull this up. Oops, sorry. Um, wait, did I? Yeah, okay. Thought I deleted my rating text there. So I'm only on the edge about whether I want to give this a 7 or 8 out of 10. I'm going to give it a 7 for the benefit of the doubt, because I do believe that this film had potential to be more than just a one man show. It could have been, they could have involved Mabel a little more. Um, and, despite having so many characters, they didn't each have an equal role to perform. And that is my main complaint in the film. If you have a film with very few characters, but you use all of them, that's absolutely fine. If you have a film with a lot of characters and you can't you fail to use all of them really well, then you don't really achieve it unless those characters are meant to be background characters. But in this story, all these characters really, really mattered. You basically had five main characters with some side characters, but these five main characters were not equally balanced. Dylan O'Brien did his part as Richie and didn't really have a major role towards the later parts of the film, but Mabel did have a bit of chance, but she didn't really was not able to really pull it off, and could not shine under the lights of Mark Rylance, who basically outshined every other character except Johnny Flynn's Francis, who I believe put out a pretty good performance by himself. So IMDb actually gave me a 7.1. That's pretty impressive. They actually matched my rating this time. And I think it's fair to say that these 19,000 people who watched the film uh, are on the right side of it. And I think only people who really understand these kinds of films or like to look for these kinds of films would be watching it, which is why you don't really see just 50,000, 100,000 views, because I'm sure these kind of films don't just go to the majority that easily. It takes a bit of while, like a bit of time. Because not everyone likes films where you gotta use your brains to think. Most people like the roller coaster rides, which is what I believe the MCU is described as, and a lot of other films for that matter. Not to say that they are bad films in any way, just because they are fun, but what I mean is that it's just what the mass majority consumes. It's mainstream media, so you're obviously going to have more ratings. As for this film, I think it has its niche. It's a good solid 7 out of 10. It could have been a lot more surprising, a lot more amazing, a lot more intense, but I think it did its job by being subtle, and literally, that's what it was. It's subtly terrifying, comforting, mysterious, and impressive. So, yeah, that's it from me for this one. See you guys in the next. Take care.